Okay, this is for the select few. I'm going to do a little bit more detailed stuff, and I'm going to introduce you a little bit more into my working life. It's mechanic based, obviously, but I look after HGV trailers, which qualifies me for being a trailer fitter. Obviously, I can do almost everything in the motor trade. However, I concentrate on looking after these rear end of the trucks. Now, this is quite important, basically, because it carries the load. These have got to be roadworthy. They have certain systems, and they've got to be looked after. Now, brakes, tyres, and all that sort of thing. If it's faulty, it needs to be repaired, rectified, put back on the road. And these things have got to be done and made sure they are safe. So if you're driving behind one, something doesn't come out and smash your windscreen or cause an accident. Right, my passion obviously is tools as well, and I like to share them with people. And in all honesty, when you buy tools like this one is £700 from Snap-on, the other battery gun is £600, and the small one 3/8 drive is roughly about £100 plus £125 for battery. Now, I have to spend the money, I have to have reliable tools, because you can see these things get in a bad state sometimes, and I can't turn around and say, oh well, my tools are not working, I can't do the job. Well, you can see here, this is a typical thing that I find, especially in the winter. This is broken terminals. All of the lights are gone out. And I have the tools just ready to sort out. You can see that my toolbox is a bit of a mess at the moment because we do get very busy. The multimeter on the left-hand side is about £250. That's from Snap-on. It's reliable and it never failed a test. Now, with this job as well, obviously, there's the basic maintenance, lubrication, and it gets, honestly, very, very tedious. And one of the reasons I do Land Rover Toolbox videos, other than to help people, is to also remember the stuff that I've learned in my career. I mean, I've been doing motor vehicles for 25 years, and I've covered quite a lot of stuff. Saying that, I'm quite content to continue what I'm doing in my working life. I get paid for it, and the weight of these is like being at a fitness club, having to lift the old ones off and fit new ones on. And there is a sense of satisfaction that we're keeping things safe on the road. I mean, look at this disc, it's cracked all the way through and it's just about ready to fly off the trailer, so we caught that just in time. What I'd like to say about the LRTV is that I've been funding this for quite a while, having to buy tools for my job and everything else. It does become a bit of a strain, and I quite appreciate people supporting the LRTV. We'd like to be sponsor free at some point. It's just a thought though, if we had quite a few people patronising us, then we could do a lot more than just a few bits on vehicles. We could actually get some vehicles, show more variety of work and cover more subjects, but unfortunately that costs money. Your patronising us on Patreon means that you'll have access to the whole of these classified videos. Unfortunately, we did actually meet some resistance when we put up the £1 per video. I mean, this is only just for making a few funds for ourselves, and we did get quite a lot of resistance with a few people storming out. However, we do appreciate all the help we can get because it does cost a lot of money to run this. We've got to thank again Arkwright, which you probably don't know. This welder cost nearly £1,000. They've given it to us on loan to show you how to weld, so the tutorials will continue on YouTube as usual. This video here is only accessible by you guys on Patreon, and you'll be getting one at least every month, and I'll put as much tips and tricks as I can in. And of course, any DVD material we'll have for sale, you'll get to see it for free anyway, so you got a good deal. Okay, so with the 110 on the chassis, the fuel tank is held on at the back cross member by two bolts which are captive. And unfortunately these are seized solid, so I had to resort to a little bit of violence to tear them out. Now I've done one and I'm going to now cut this side out, and this is with a rather brutal tool, which is an air chisel, air hammer. I've got a chisel piece in here and that just tears the metal through. It's not strong enough to cut the bolt head off, but at least I've got the tank out. I mean, this tank's scrap anyway, so it doesn't matter. What's left, if I get the light just right, is the two bolts which I can then cut out with a grinder. And unfortunately, the drop plate for the tow bar also is going to be a problem with these bolts. I'll have to find a solution to that. Yep, so basically with a cutting disc, I just cut through them and took the heads off and removed the bolts. And to be honest with you, this is a really silly idea because they are captive and they're hard to get hold of as it is, but there you go. I'm not trying to sell for Snap-on. I'll just tell you that there is definitely a quality difference. And Blue Point here, this Blue Point gun, it's actually quite expensive, but I need it for work. It just slices through tin like butter, or hot knife through butter. Now, it depends on the equipment, and especially with the bits here, these are not cheap again, and they're made of a very hardened steel, whereas the Chinese ones, which you can buy off eBay for £5 for a full set, are not worth the money. They just wear out and they damage really, really quickly. Now, yeah, I've been using an air hammer for years, or air chisels for years, and you can see what happens. These are disposable items anyway. Once they're worn out, you chuck them away or resharpen them or whatever, whereas the American-made ones are much better. Now, this gun here comes in a kit which you can probably buy off eBay for 35 quid, and to be honest with you, it's pants. It will do a job, but if you're looking at trying to cut something like the skin of this tank, you can see how much effort it takes just to get into the skin itself. Be honest with you, this isn't really worth the money, it's pants. Now, the Blue Point air hammer itself, you turn it up, and if you see here, there's actually a bracket of some sort, or divider in the tank, and it's cut straight through it. So it does make a difference. Now, compare with 3 guns here, this is one that was bought for £19 from Lidl's. And it's the same mass-produced cheap rubbish, which doesn't last long in a professional environment. And if you're doing something on a DIY project, it might not last long either. So if we look at the operation of this, you can see this one, how it operates is basically, it's just hammering the tooling here. Now, okay, you could get away with doing a few jobs around your DIY projects, but it isn't going to last long because of the materials that the guns are made out of and the tooling itself. You pay the money for the process of the metals to be worked properly. Now, this will last its time. I've known people who've had these 15 years and they've only changed the tooling bits as they've either broken or worn out completely. And of course, the tooling at the end is the consumable item. I'm not advocating at all for Snap-on tools because I do find them expensive. Their marketing is what puts the price of the tools up, but they last the time compared to this stuff, which is probably made in the Far East. The metal itself has not been treated well enough to last the time. So I'll just ask you the question, do you have any better alternatives? Another thing I would like to show you is about the grinder. Now, I actually smashed the disc here, but this is not the point. You can see my finger, my index finger on my left hand. Well, this is because it got caught on the grinding wheel temporarily. Now, this is something to be aware of with switches and when they're positioned on grinders, especially with small handled grinders. I'll just show you that I actually put the key near the plug so I can unplug it when I'm changing the disc. Never mind, basically you can see the guard there, and I've had to make sure it's positioned so my finger doesn't catch in the disc. Okay, and this possibly, it could be a hazard for anybody who picks it up and grinds without the guard or their gloves on. You can see that, how easy it is, and it's more comfortable to actually have the finger rested on the guard. Now this iron-held one, which is, this is a lot better. This has had some abuse. Didn't last that long, but long enough. You can see how far away the grinding disc is and the guard itself. And of course there are slots for handles for 3 positions, which sometimes is a bit of a pain. This one actually needs a set of brushes, so I'll repair it when I can find the brushes that I bought for it. Anywho, this is just a thought when you're on your way to buy a new grinder. Think of the switch position as well as the power of the motor.